Live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. This is Sooner Sports Talk on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield.
Stripped by Godwin, breakaway, Sam Godwin, hammer! Godwin picked the pocket.
Wing to Verhulst, quick release three, smash.
Fierce, pull up three for the tie, foul! He hit it! He hit it! Miles, pump fake, steps left, open three for the lead, got it! He knocked the bottom out of it, and the Sooners lead it! North Weatherford three, Big Luke! Big Luke! Bam! Throw ahead to Moore, Moore with the breakaway, he'll dunk it, and you can unhitch the wagon! You can unhitch the wagon! Put the ponies in the board!
Welcome, everyone. It is another edition of Sooner Sports Talk coming to you from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue in Norman. And we always love being here with Tyler Neal, the former Oklahoma Sooner. Coming up on the program tonight, we will visit with Sooner head women's coach Jenny Baranczak. We'll have Sahara Williams, Reagan Beers joining us as well. I'm Chad McKee, filling in for the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland, tonight. That's because Toby is maybe airborne right now on the way to Florida. Porter Moser and the Sooner men will take on the number 2 team in the country, the Florida Gators, tomorrow night at the O'Connell Center. That'll be a 6 o'clock tip-off. 5:30 pregame show with Kevin Henry and Toby Rowland all along the Sooner Sports Radio Network. And the Sooners trying to get back on track. It's been a tough run, dropping 5 games in a row. And this past one they had against LSU, Tyler, you know, you're up 79-74, give up the final 8 points of the game and just could not quite close that one. We're going to hear from Coach Moser in just a moment. But just difficult finishes multiple times this year for this team, and they got to find a way to close games more than anything, right?
Yeah, I think, you know, you talk about going to play Florida, who's now number 2, like you said, and I think kind of a byproduct of a conference with so many, you know, it's not a top-heavy conference. That's not what I'm trying to say. But with the top 4 or 5 teams truly being top 5 or 8 or 10 teams in the country is – when you go play those teams, especially away from home, and let's say you take a loss that's not close in nature, you're not adding up a big amount of games over the course of the season where, you know, it's close, and you drop one, and you can learn from it. And the next time you get in a close game, you learn from it and win it. You're playing these teams, I mean, NBA players across the board on some of these teams. I'm kind of starting to realize with this venture into the Southeastern Conference, that you know, you're kind of playing with fire when it comes to that, right? And like I said, less chances at the apple, less bites at the apple to learn from close game experiences. And it just so happens, I thought it was really interesting hearing Coach Kindler, women's gymnastics, just talk on the huddle about momentum, about that domino effect, about the difference that the crowd and the energy can make. And it makes, for this men's basketball program, it takes me back to makes me think of the A&M game here at the Lloyd Noble Center. You get the incredible first half out of Bryson Goodine and the incredible game. He ends up scoring 30-plus points in that one. But you give up a big comeback, and it's right after a really good non-conference slate where you started the season 13-0. And that's a great opportunity against, I think they were top 15 at the time, to create a little early momentum and to keep, you know, that Lloyd Noble Center full like it was for that game and a couple of those games in and around the schedule there. And you drop that one, it almost feels like it started the reverse of the domino effect of, well, you didn't figure out how to do that one as a team, which, by the way, again, a bunch of new guys playing together. Mm-hmm. And get used to it. That is the case in this era. So I hate that for them that they weren't able to pull that one out. And you see little bits and pieces like in this LSU game where, you know, you haven't quite learned like you need to by this time of year to be able to start winning those basketball games.
This opening segment is presented by McIntyre Law. Melba McIntyre with McIntyre Law is the law firm for all of your personal injury needs. So following that game the other day, Porter Moser and Dayton Forsyth, who's been a bigger contributor, the freshman from just down the road in Dale, spoke with Kevin Henry on the Sooner Sports Radio Network at just how tough a loss that was to swallow.
Coach, this is a tough loss. Just what are some of your initial thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this was just the way we finished the game against the press. We were up 5, and with 24 seconds left, they called timeout, and we were in a no-jump situation, meaning we're not going to jump on contest any shots, and we jumped. we jumped and fouled a three-point shooter to get a 4-point play, and it's just tough. And the press, we literally have gone over that. We would bypass, and it was just a situation we kind of had one timeout, and if we didn't get it in, I was going to call it, and if we got in trouble, I was going to call it. And we run the press attack, cut, and we just kind of froze. 3 guys stood right there together. And we had 2 freshmen at the time, but and then Jalen, a senior, we should be get out, but that's on me. We had one timeout, and we got the ball. We run bypass shooter, but you got to cut, and space it. And we just kind of all 3 guys lumped together and just didn't cut to our spots. And then we kind of panic passed and threw it away.
Tough loss, Dayton. I thought you played your heart out. I thought all you guys did. Just what are some of your initial thoughts on this one?
We had the game. We had it won. We just got to figure out ways to close games. Obviously, that was a big one for us. We'll figure it out. We'll get together. We'll talk about it, talk through it, and we got more games. We got more opportunities. It's hard to say that right now, but we do have more opportunities, and we got to take advantage of them.
And again, that's Dayton Forsyth and head coach Porter Moser talking to our Kevin Henry on the Sooner Sports Radio Network afterward. And Dayton Forsyth is correct. Let's think about this. And you mentioned Texas A&M. The Texas game, that's a 4-point loss. At Arkansas, 3-point loss. And at Missouri, 3-point loss. That's 4 losses by 12 total points. Yep. Or else, you win a couple of those and find a way, you're sitting close to 500 in the league. And here's the other good side for this Sooner team. You heard that. Opportunities. Those are going to be available. Now, you got to take advantage of some of those opportunities. But this is a team that you look at the national rankings. This team beat a team that's ranked number 12 in the country. That's Michigan. They beat number 19 Arizona. They beat number 25 Louisville. A couple of those games were down there on neutral floors in the battle for Atlantis. 4 quad one wins. ESPN's Joe Lunardi, bracketology, has this Oklahoma team still in the NCAA tournament as of today. They got to string together some wins. It could start tomorrow at Florida. But, Tyler, what is going to be the key for them getting over that hump and finding a way to close a couple of these games?
Yeah, I mean, it is always interesting hearing a head coach talk about, because you don't get to hear it very often, especially at the collegiate level. You want to be a little more respectful of young people and young players than we hear maybe professional coaches do so, where it's like, we just got to be better. Porter there talking about, some pretty specific stuff that they talked about coming out of that timeout, being in a no-jump situation. I have it seared in my brain of coaches, Coach Kruger, whoever it may be. We don't foul three-point shooters. We don't foul three-point shooters, and every coach will say that, a different amount of times. But I'm sure that's part of his methodology. Of course, you don't. It's a big momentum play, whether you're at home or on the road. It's a kind of a killer if you're at home for the fan support, and it's a big, obviously, momentum raiser for an away crowd. And it's those little things. It's just continuing to put yourself into those positions where you learn that next time, hey, I can't do that. We talked about that. I'm a leader on this team. Jalen Moore, I'm a leader on this team. And you hear Dayton Forsyth talking there too, just a freshman, right? But an Oklahoma kid that's won a lot. I mean, he's been in a lot of winning situations, not at this level. And we start to, some of those competitive rebounds we saw him get, starting to see him take ownership of being the change as far as that goes. That's really hard for a freshman to do, though. So I admire him for the effort that he's bringing forth, and hopefully that can take hold over a really nice long Sooner career.
Jalen Moore has kind of been that consistent, stabilizing, leading voice with this Sooner team. He had 14 and 7 against Missouri. We've talked about Jeremiah Fears. He's been fantastic much of this season. Then who's that next guy going to be? Well, it was Duke Miles the other day. Yep. And this is a team what's strange to watch. They've got 4 different guys that have had a game where they've scored 29 points or more in one game. So they have that explosive ability. It's just kind of finding that other guy to go with. The attention that Fears is going to get. Whether he's scoring or not, he's an attention getter for the opposing defenses and scouting reports. Who's that next guy from game to game? How do they lock in on maybe a more consistent, if you would, third option on this team?
Yeah, and I think the answer to that is not so much, hey, what can you do better in the half-court offense? Because it's really difficult to score in the half-court against some of these teams with multiple rim protectors, NBA-style bodyguards that are protecting the perimeter and keeping you from getting downhill, especially for a young player like Fears, who's kind of growing into his body and growing into his skill set, even though he's a tremendously athletic and fast player and very skilled with the ball. against some of those teams, I'm looking at the other end. How can you be better on the defensive end that creates easy opportunities for you? And when I say easy opportunities, I'm not only saying transition, like layups off of a steal. That's kind of where our minds go, right? I'm also saying those teams, these are college-age kids too. If they're not playing very well on offense because of something you're doing defensively, it can affect what they're doing when they're on defense, and that makes things easier to score too. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that down the stretch as well.
Got to take a quick timeout. Up next, we will take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Sooner men, and that schedule continues tomorrow at the University of Florida. The number 2 team in the country will preview that next on Sooner Sports Talk from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue in Norman.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. Dos Equis, the official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Bob Moore Ford is proud to honor service members through the Patriot of the Game. Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Sooner Kids Club presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Orthodontics exclusively, Mathis Home, and Devon Energy.
Welcome back in to Sooner Sports Talk, coming to you from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue in Norman. Chad McKee and former Sooner Tyler Neal with us here on the program from Rudy's. This segment is brought to you by Dos Equis, official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Just real quickly, wrapping things up as Toby Rowland and Porter Moser are on the road tonight. Oklahoma going to be taking on the Florida Gators. 6 o'clock will be tip-off down there, and 5:30 is your pregame show on the Sooner Radio Network. It is on ESPN2. Upcoming schedule for those guys, and there are 9 SEC teams in the top 25. 9 of the top 25. What's my percentage on that? It's over a third of the top 25.
There's also been 14 that have been in the top 25.
Oklahoma being in the top 25. Yep. Vanderbilt was once in the top 25 as well. For the Sooners ahead, they've got Florida, which is number 2 in the country. They still have Auburn, which is the top-ranked team in the country. Alabama, number 4 in the country. You've got Tennessee. You got A&M. All those teams have been on the schedule. It's crazy how challenging this schedule is, but you can't complain about it. You just got to go out there and play the games.
Yeah, and I think there's an aspect of this, this period that this team is in right now, of at some point being able to put it behind you, and no matter what the team coming up is ranked, Florida number 2. Sometimes that can draw the best out of a team, and you realize, hey, not that you don't have anything to lose, but in this game, right, they're expected to win. You have nothing to lose in this game. They're expected to win. They're going to be favored to win. They're a very talented team. They're big. Go out there and play well early and make it a game and try to be in that thing in the end and give yourself a chance to win. You see it happen all the time in college basketball.
We're going to talk Sooner women's basketball coming up here in just a few moments. Jenny Baranczyk is here. Sahara Williams. Reagan Beer is going to join us as well. So much fun to watch this team.
Yeah.
You and I had the chance to call a game earlier this year, and you've had your eyes on them. A 3-game winning streak, playing good basketball in, again, an incredibly difficult SEC.
And 2 of those last 3 wins you're talking about without Reagan Bierce, right? And I think my favorite thing over these last 2 games, and a very manageable schedule compared to what they've seen so far to end here these last 4 or 5 games. What I love is seeing Skylar Vann kind of come to life here. And Conference Player of the Year last year in the Big 12 Conference, and we know what her capabilities are, and we know this is a very talented team, and I think that they will be at their best only when she can kind of become more consistent in getting closer to that. We're seeing that, and now I want to see that start to jive with Reagan Beers and just see how unstoppable that could be offensively, because I wouldn't want to coach against that.
4 games left in the regular season. Is it already here?
I hate it.
The finish line. I mean,
there's going to be quite a few for them after that, though.
Yeah, there will be a bunch. And Oklahoma, in fact, given one of the top 16 national rankings, that would put you as a host for an NCAA regional. So great news coming out in that end of the spectrum as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be a goal, on the women's side for how they do their tournament. That's going to be a goal for Jenny and her team year in and year out, and they're on track to do that. And you got to go finish stronger. You got Vanderbilt on the schedule. Did you see what what happened with the Vanderbilt girls team this last time out. I believe it was against Auburn, 55 from Michaela Blake. So there's some teams there that can give you some trouble, and Vanderbilt's done that against some really good teams. So you still got to get up for every one and take it one game at a time, which they're very good at on that side.
Every team has players, without question. Every team can find a way to beat you. That's life in the SEC these days. Tyler, we appreciate it. As always, good to see you. Tyler Neal, former Sooner men's basketball player. Once again, Oklahoma at Florida, 6 o'clock tomorrow night, 5:30 coverage along the Sooner Sports Network with the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland and Kevin Henry, and that game will be televised on ESPN2. Coming up next, we are talking Sooner women's basketball here on Sooner Sports Talk. Head coach Jenny Baranczyk will join us. Sahara Williams is here. Reagan Beers, action-packed show. Don't go anywhere. It's Sooner Sports Talk from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue in Norman.
Sooner Sports Talk is brought to you by Norman Hyundai, your premier Hyundai dealership for new and used cars. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com. The Sooner Sports Podcast is your all-access audio pass to Sooner Sports. Listen as Toby Rowland and Chris Plank talk all things Sooners. New episodes drop every day. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast in your favorite podcast provider. Presented by Allstate and Riverwind Casino. Orthodontics Exclusively is a proud sponsor of the Junior Captain of the Game. Junior Captain is the ultimate fan experience for children 6 to 12.
Sooner Sports Talk continues from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue here in Norman, and this segment is presented by Dos Equis, official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Turning our attention to the Sooner women's team, and they are coming off a victory, 82-66 at Missouri. Coach Jenny Baranczyk and Reagan Beers joining us. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
It's awesome.
It's a quick turnaround.
It's awesome to be inside with the heat a little bit. It's a little chilly outside, and it's about to get a little colder. So
yeah, take us through trailing at halftime the other day and have to make a rally. Had a great third quarter. Just kind of your reflections on that win, and now 3 wins in a row.
Well, here's the deal: is Missouri's a good basketball team, and I think that you go into every game and you think you have to be up by 100 in the first quarter, or it's not a good game. And what I'm really proud of, I thought that we did a really nice job of learning. And they run a unique style, one that we don't see a ton of. They run kind of similar to us in terms of they're setting screens and they're making a lot of reads. And I mean, they just come off a win against Texas A&M, and before that, they had been in end of games with LSU, end of games with Tennessee, and really put themselves in an opportunity to win at Texas. So this is a good basketball team, and I think that's what we're learning also in the SEC is just how difficult the SEC actually is, because I think in a lot of other conferences they would win a lot of games. So I do think, one, they were really good. 2, I think we had to learn, and I think we guarded so much better in the second half because we allowed ourselves really to learn and to be able to slow down and adjust and talk through some things that we needed to at halftime. And I think in the second half, I thought defensively, we just did a phenomenal job. I think Sahara continues to set the tone for us from a competitiveness. I thought Lexi Keys really turned it just in terms of just working. And then I think Reagan just continues to communicate and has a presence on the interior. And when we have that presence on the interior, it really helps us to be able to defend that perimeter better.
What was the halftime talk like, Reagan? And you knew you had what you needed to win the game. You just had to put it out there on the floor. So what was the conversation like?
A lot of it was just we have to defend. I know Jenny came in and mentioned that a lot of their shots that they made, we could have contested better in that first half especially. They were shooting really, really well, making a lot of things. And so really big emphasis on contesting the shots that they were shooting was a lot of the halftime. And obviously rebounding, because we obviously need to work on that, have been working on that, obviously emphasis on that, continue to emphasize that as well. But I feel like ditto what Jenny said, our guards worked their butts off. I rewatched that game today, and Lexi Keys, Zaya, Harina,
Zaya was another one, you're right.
Sahara, they just, they just do so much running around outside, chasing all those screens, all the staggers. They set 1 million of them, and I was just chilling in the paint, making sure that the curls didn't get hit on the curls. And so they just did a phenomenal job of just working their butt off to set the tone defensively.
Coach mentioned you as a communicator on the backside of all of that. As they are doing that, what's the vocalization like from your vantage point as you're sitting back there in the paint?
I'm just telling them that I got their help. I'm like, I got your help on the curl. I got your help. I got your help. I'm here. Or like force to me, so they can force it back this way. Just things like that. They know that I'm there. And sometimes it's just me yelling at them like, I got you. I don't even have to say anything except that. Because sometimes just you saying that or someone's voice hearing that, you're like, all right, I got someone behind me. That if I could be, I'm having help. So that's something that we've really had to work on, not just me, but everybody in general. Just communicating is huge defensively. Offensively, it is as well. But yesterday, I feel like we did that well. The person that was in the back was communicating very well. Whether that was me, I know it was Sahara at times, things like that. When we do that well, we defend really well, which is what we did in the second half.
How much have the guards and those perimeter players we're talking about out there, Lexi and Zaya and Nevaeh and all of them, enjoyed having her back there protecting the basket, knowing that they can go out and defend even harder perhaps than they have?
Well, one, I think just the trust that's continued to be, continues to grow, to be honest. I don't think we're a complete project, and you're never really going to be a complete project, but you want to be peaking at the right time. And for us to still be in a growth phase, that's really where we're at right now. And so I think that their development of trust, whether it's Reagan, whether it's Beatrice Culleton, who's given us incredible time over the last week or so, and before that, but especially when Reagan was out, it's been fun to be able to see their trust in each other continue to grow. But also, you have to allow failure during that. You have to allow falling down during that. And I thought that's really what we did a nice job of at halftime, was to be able to reset and say, okay, what actually are we learning? Because you can emulate as much as you can possibly try to emulate in practice. It's not the same. And so you have to take that first quarter, you have to take that first half to really learn what's going on, to really learn, especially teams that are very heavy into scouting. And so, that is Missouri. They do, I love that we got to play them twice. I love when we got to play them, because what they do is they scout you so specific. And so you get to see what somebody thinks of you in January, and then you get to see about a month later what they think of you again.
Yeah.
And so that was really fun. And so it was fun for me. And you take just a couple moments of, they set so many screens and they have so much off-ball movement, that we had a lot of times some miscommunication and some miscues. And so 2 people go with 1, or 3 people would kind of collapse, and we would leave shooters a little bit wide open, not a little wide open, they were wide open. But in the first half, and I thought in the second half, our communication got so much better because that trust is continuing to be built on, yep, you really are there, and yep, we do have to be able to handle just a screen action between the 2 of us.
How was it for you to be back out there after missing a couple and not getting to be out there with your teammates? And how hard was it to watch when you were not out there?
It was fun. Obviously, any chance you get to play with this group of girls is fun. Even on the sideline, I have so much joy. I mean, sometimes even more on the bench, just jumping up and cheering for someone.
That's not always helpful. Just
I'm working on that. But it is fun. From the bench on the court, it's just a fun group of girls to be around, wherever you are, whatever position you're in. Fun coaching staff, fun group to be with, and so out or in, it's fun, but it's definitely a lot more fun when I'm actually in, to say the least.
and for everybody, and there's a team mom element to you, right?
Oh.
You're like to help your teammates make things, give to your teammates and coaching staff. Where does that come from, and where is that in you? Is it a family thing? Is it you, or an individual thing? Where does that come from?
I would say my family.
Okay.
My grandma is a big crafter, and so like the making blankets or the little gifts that I've made for my coaches, like I see things, or I dream things, or I think of things, and then I go to Hobby Lobby and it creates itself. And so just things like that. My grandma's a very creative mind, and so she got me into things that I like to do now, like ceramics and things like that. And then my mom also has that side. I feel like she didn't have as much time because with her 4 kids in a very short amount of time, she didn't have as much time to get into that, but she definitely has that kind of brain. And so I feel like I got that gene passed down to me. Riley, I don't think my little sister can sit still long enough to do something like that. But I definitely got that trait, which I'm happy about, and it's fun.
I sense a Hobby Lobby NIL deal coming up here potentially. Does that sound like a good idea?
You know, there you go. There you go. We'll put Nikki on that. So. I know.
What has it been like, having her around? She's such a fun personality in addition to being a good basketball player and being a part of this culture, Coach.
That's one thing that I just absolutely adore and love about the women that we have in that locker room is we're really good people. Mm-hmm. We're people that we can get around, and we have to continue to be better, and we want to grow. But I think, quite honestly, I think that's why Reagan chose to come here, is because there is this really, it's a unwavering, convicted culture that you're there for a purpose. We're there to represent more than just ourselves. And it's a really incredible foundation. And that was well before I got here. I think that's the great people of Oklahoma. I think we represent this state just incredibly well. And at the same time, we have this willingness to learn how to love and trust each other by falling on our face and getting up and rolling up our sleeves and being real people. And, that's family. Like, you talk about family, and family we know isn't always just the really good parts. It's the parts that you have to go through and grow through hard times together. And I think Reagan does a great job of being able to see greatness in other people. I think that our team does a great job of being able to see greatness in other people. I think our challenge in our growth area right now is to be able to see it in ourselves so that we can continue to offer it to others. And when we do that, I think, our best basketball, as everybody in here knows, is ahead of us. But you can see us really starting to take some steps.
This segment is presented by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. We've got Jenny Baranczyk and Reagan Beers with us here. Reagan, to kind of go forward with what Coach is talking about, the culture, how much fun has it been for you jumping into this environment that Coach Baranczyk and Coach Cole, even before Coach Baranczyk, have helped create here at Oklahoma?
It's been a blast. Obviously, coming here, I knew from my official visit when I came and I saw one of their practices, and then obviously my first week here, where I was still finishing up school at Oregon State and starting summer school here, and then I was dressed and ready for practice, but I wasn't allowed to step on the court yet, things like that. It is clear how much we were ready to start the season, and then how much we love to compete. And that started from the moment I stepped on campus, and that's what Jenny has created. That's what the people before her have created. That's Oklahoma. And so it's super cool to be a part of a program and a school and a state that just loves to compete, and you see it every single day. I mean, Sahara is the prime example of that, in my opinion, on our team, of just laying her body on the floor to get a rebound, or just willing to pour into other people so much because she is such a competitor and wants to win. And that's everybody. Sahara is just one example that I see every single day. And so it's just really cool to be a part of that, and a coaching staff and in a group of girls that just ooze that out of them every single day in practice. And the minute that practice is over, we can ignore the trash talk that just happened and moved on.
Let it go.
Let's be honest, Reagan doesn't trash talk.
I don't. I'm not talking about
how
me.
good she would be if she did.
Who's the best at it on the team? Who is the best trash talker?
I probably shouldn't comment because my name might be voted number one in that. I don't know. But no, I'm just going to echo the statement, though, of, I love when you understand the true form of competition. It's not to hope other people do bad so you look good. Mm-hmm. It's to hope that the people around you bring everything they have so that you get better. Mm-hmm. And so your job is to be able to bring everything that you have so that everybody around you gets better, and it elevates the level of play. And I think Reagan has done that since the second she stepped on campus too. I think she continues to make people better, and she has high expectation for other players as well. And so I love watching her growth. I love, even the hard games, even the games that she might like to have a pass back or two, or a rebound back, or a shot back or two, or a defensive play. She's going to give you what she has. But her best basketball is ahead of her. And her leadership skills are really starting to come out right now. We talked about that a few weeks ago when we were on here, but I'm just really excited to see her as this conference season starts, is ending. but postseason's just beginning. So I'm excited to see her in that space.
Can't wait to watch it, Reagan. Thanks for being here with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
That is Reagan Beers joining us here. And, of course, Jenny Baranczyk. She's going to stick around as Sahara Williams joins us next. You are watching Sooner Sports Talk and listening to Sooner Sports Talk from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue in Norman.
The Huddle is brought to you by Taco Mayo. Big appetite, bigger savings. Download and save today. Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today.
Sooner Sports Talk once again from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue in Norman. And this segment is presented by your Oklahoma Buick GMC dealers. Another players segment here. It's great to have Sahara Williams along with Coach Jenny Baranczyk here. And Sahara, as you've watched this team put together now 3 wins in a row, has there been anything different? What's been kind of the messaging, maybe the focal point, or wanting to change anything at all? What's been going on these last 3 games?
I think we've really been convicted in growing and learning and just being really competitive in practice and just kind of giving everything that we have because I think like Jenny said previously, we still have a lot in us that I don't even think we understand or know yet. So just really working hard every day and bringing it every day in practice and every night that it'll show and every game will keep getting better. So also we've just really been loving on each other and just being super positive around this time because it's hard. You've been playing basketball since November. So just really staying convicted and staying connected has been, at least I think from the team standpoint, our biggest focal point.
How important is that, Coach? I think we lose sight of it a little bit, that you do need to love on each other a little bit. You're going through tough times, and you're 22 games in. You've been together since September, October, in some cases through the summer. How important is it to remember a little bit of that this time of the year?
Well, not only this time of the year, I think that's always been the case is this time of year, right? But even now, there's even more to it, right? There's your social medias, there's just so many more, there's so much more access to what we're doing in our circle. And so keeping your circle is really important. But the part of the circle is the joy that you get to play together. Now there's so many opinions. Every game, everybody gets to see, regardless of where they are in the world, everybody gets to have a comment on that. And you can't believe good or bad, right? You just have to stay really focused on your bubble and your circle. And so, I think even our game at Missouri, I think in that first half, sometimes we want it so bad and we want to do this and we want to prove to everybody, yeah, we belong in the SEC and we do this. And again, you have to learn and you have to grow. But we're always going to be better when we have fun playing. And my dad's in the stands here and not the stands, but my family's here. It's kind of,
their
right?
picnic tables are kind of stands.
But that was something that I grew up with, and he would always, instead of saying, "Man, you were really bad," which he could have said many times, he would say, "Man, you just didn't look like you had as much fun as you normally do." And I think when you carry that with you. But if I'm not having fun, they're not having fun. If they're not having fun, right, then the next person's not going to have fun. And so people won't have fun watching us. When we get a little bit tight sometimes because you want to win, and winning is never enough. Winning's never enough. The minutes you play are never enough. The points you score are never enough. But the fun you have just fuels you for the next game and why you play and why you show up every day. And I think my favorite thing about this team is even after the hard games, we still show up the next day and the sun comes up and we have a smile on our face and we want to learn. And it doesn't mean that we're used to it and it doesn't mean that we like it. But we also can find that inner joy. And I think once we really start to tap into understanding that inner joy plus the competitiveness, plus we start to really rise and shine, I tell you what, we're going to be a hard team to play.
I think that you told the story earlier this year to us about Beatrice Culleton, and she was talking about it's not the celebrating championships, it's not it's not you won this or you won that. It's that February date, which we're in, when it's cold outside, which it's going to be, and you don't want to go to practice and thinking about doing it for your teammates, right? How critical is that, Sahara?
It's really critical because, of course, I chose a place where I'm going to choose the staff and the girls that I play with every single day, good or bad. So just knowing that I have the teammates that I have who are going to show up for me even when I'm not 100%. And, even though I'll give what I have, even if it's not 100%, that's okay. And just knowing that everyone else is going to do their part and the coaching staff is going to bring everything that they have to just make the ship run. And I think that's really important, just having everyone so convicted, even on days when it doesn't feel good or when you don't want to, or after a tough loss, or just whatever the case may be, just understanding that we all have one common goal and we'll do whatever it takes to get there.
We just heard Reagan Beers talk about you specifically and what you bring to the practice court, laying your body out there on the floor, on the practice court. What does that mean to you? How does that make you feel as a teammate to hear that your teammates appreciate what you do?
It feels good because I just love the game of basketball. I love the team. I love doing it for them and understanding how important I am, no matter how many points I score, no matter what. Just my presence and being there just is a different feeling on the team. And so I just value that they value me so much. And Reagan's amazing. She brings it every day. And just since she stepped foot on campus, she made everyone else around her get better. I don't know if she knows that or not, but just her presence alone, like everyone had to get better in order to be able to compete at this level. And so just understanding that we have the same common goal and we just want to work and win and do whatever it takes to win is just a really good feeling.
We're supposed to ask a question for Coach. It's presented by Rudy's. For the best in real Texas barbecue, it's Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. I asked Sahara, would you like to ask a question to Coach? And her response was basically, if I want to ask her a question, I'll just ask her a question. So we were talking about...
Okay, I got to brag on her for a second before you ask me a question.
No, I'll ask you.
Before.
Coach, would you please brag on Sahara?
I would love to do that.
There's your question.
Honestly, and I've been coaching a long time, and sometimes when I really realize how long it's been over 20 years. And I don't know if I have ever seen a young woman transform and grow in 1 year's time as I have Sahara Williams.
Wow.
I really don't. And it makes me emotional thinking about where she was even a year ago. And probably a year and a month ago, her and I had it out in a hotel lobby. But honestly, just to watch her show up every day and the things that she says she means, she doesn't know how to not speak truth. And I think that is an incredible skill set, especially in today's world. But she can say it in a way that makes the people around her elevate their level. And so what she says she sees in Reagan, she sees in Reagan, and that is true. Reagan stepped foot on campus. We got a lot of eyes on us, and it made us all have to look in the mirror and be like, okay, we all got to step up. Me too. And Reagan doesn't know that. And what Sahara doesn't know is what Reagan says about her in terms of her showing up every day makes her have to show up every day. And I think just by showing up every day, that is one of the most underrated, I don't know if it's a skill set characteristic, I don't even know what it is, but it's the most underrated quality that is essential for successful people and successful leaders. And so the leadership, I don't want to call it natural because I know she's worked her ass off with it. I know I'm not supposed to say that. Sorry, Drake, you'll have to edit it. But I am just so in awe and also know she has so much more to come.
Yeah.
And yet, a year ago, she was in a different place. Right now, she's thriving in school, and she'll continue to do that. That wasn't an easy transition. She's thriving as a leader. She's thriving in the weight room. Every single person that you talk to, and I've said this plenty of times, you talk to her once, you fall in love with her. I've said that a million times. But now, what's more important is she's fallen in love with herself. And she's confident, and she is able to give because she doesn't need anything else in terms of validation.
Sahara, that's awesome. How nice is it to have a culture that fosters that believes you need a place to say what you want to say, where your work is appreciated and rewarded, and all those things that Coach just spoke of?
It's amazing knowing that I picked a place where I share the same values as everyone on the staff and everyone on the team. That's really important. It's really like a family aspect, like Jenny says. Just to have a coach who can just say so many nice things about you and like myself But she can say that about everyone on this team, everyone on the staff. It's just amazing. And I think, like she said, confidence is like key. Confidence is your power. And when you're super confident, you can give without the expectation of receiving. And I think that's super important, especially when you're trying to get to a place you've never been before. You just kind of got to do things you've never done. And just to have a coach like Jenny is just amazing because she's a believer. She's just like, you know what, I can hype you up, I can do other things, but I just believe in you so much that I know you're going to do great things. And she's like that with everyone on staff. And I just think that energy is very infectious, and I just appreciate her for bringing that every day as well.
That's fantastic. I love it when we do shows where we really don't even talk basketball. It's kind of fun to just talk life and experiences and all those sorts of things. However, we are going to talk a little bit of basketball right now. We're going to take a look at the upcoming schedule because we want people to get out, and hopefully the weather, no promises or anything, Coach?
Yeah, we need people. We do. And one of the things that, we were actually just talking, Reagan and Sahara and I before, and we're like, everywhere that we've gone, we've had players have played phenomenal. We've been at these elite environments, and we want to continue to do that. And I'm going to take a side note, too, for a second, because I know there's been a lot of comments about our fan base, right? National, and people saying, we need more, we need more, we need more. And we want to remain our focus as we want to be the best for our community that we could possibly be in our program. We want to serve our community. That's what we want. That's our job. And we need our help. I think our fans that come to our games are so engaged, and they love this team. And you've seen us turn the ball over in ways that, my daughter's team does, and she's in 5th grade. Sorry, it always comes back to that, too. But I also know that you've seen greatness in these guys, and you've seen them grow, and you've seen them be a team, and you've seen them fall on their face and get up and roll up their sleeves, and that's what college athletics is supposed to be. And so we are the consummate program in terms of watching these women try to navigate through all of that and try to learn and represent you all. And we do. We need more people. We just need more people because you can't help but fall in love with this team once you come once, and you all know that. And I need your help to just continue to get more people to come. That's what we need. We need to make this place so special that people like Sahara and people like Reagan can't help but want to come here and stay here and thrive here. And so we have to do something to be able to continue to just get more people. And if we have ideas, you let us know. But if you can help us in any possible way, we need that because this team deserves it. And we know that the University of Oklahoma does.
Well said, Coach. And it all begins 6 o'clock on Thursday night. Vanderbilt coming to the Lloyd Noble Center. Sahara Williams, Jenny Baranczyk, Reagan Beers over there. Thank you so much for joining us as well. We're going to wrap things up coming up next from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. This is another edition of Shooter Sports Talk.
To our cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola.
Wrapping things up here from Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue in Norman, another edition of Sooner Sports Talk. We appreciate Tyler Neal being with us to talk about Sooner men's basketball. Once again, Toby Rowland and Kevin Henry will have the call of Oklahoma at second-ranked Florida. That will be tomorrow night, 5:30 on the Sooner Sports Network. 6 o'clock is tip-off, Oklahoma and Florida. Our final segment here is presented by Pike Pass. Make it home safe, Oklahoma. And we also want to remind you about the Sooner Sports Podcast. If you missed any of tonight's show, you can always catch it on demand via our Sooner Sports Podcast. Log on to Soonersports.com/podcast or search Sooner Sports Podcast for your favorite podcast provider. We'll see you next time.
Live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Sooner Sports Talk has been brought to you by Dos Equis, official import beer of OU Athletics. Go for Dos. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.